Hi, I'm Justin Boyd.
I'm Franklin Cooper. Jones. Oh, sorry. Franklin Cooper.
It's been too long, man.
Yes.
I'm rusty.
Yeah. And we are the Watchers in the Basement. Welcome to the Watchers in the Basement. Welcome to Watchers Football, the podcast within a podcast. And a podcast is all about the pigskin. We are here today to discuss, take a look at the NFL. It's been a month since our last podcast. We're now in the final month of the regular season. Calendar is shifted to December. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty time. Who can make the playoffs? Who's going to be left out in the cold, literally. So I figured we'd start out with the NFC. We always talk about the AFC because y'all are big Chiefs guys. Trust me, we're going to talk about the Chiefs. Don't worry. We'll get to the Chiefs in a second. But yeah, let's start out with the NFC, and let's start out with the team that leads the NFC, which is the Chicago Bears, which the last time we did a podcast a month ago, the Bears were coming off that crazy win of the Bengals. They have not lost since, and they're now at 9-3, the number one seed in the NFC. Frank, your thoughts on the Bears?
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I did not have this in my crystal ball. I had them finishing third in the division. It's crazy, man. When you watch them play, they don't do anything great. I literally watch Caleb miss throws week in and week out, like basic throws, like elementary throws that an NFL caliber quarterback should make. But when you put it all together, man, they get timely stops. Ben Johnson has added his pizzazz and creativity to the offense. When they decide to give Odunze targets, they seem to be rolling as a passing game. But even with that, there are times where I think Odunze had like a game with no targets or no catches a couple weeks ago, and they won that game too. They seem to do the right things at the right critical moments. Their defense is coming together. They're playing well defensively. I think what I'm really impressed with is the running back resurgence. Manungai, I think his name is, and DeAndre Swift. They create a great 1-2 combo. And when Ben Johnson plays off the run game with the play action pass, it adds an element to their offense that you haven't seen. I know Swift kind of struggled midway through. He got nicked up, and then when Manungai took over and led the carries in that staple in that backfield, they became more formidable. They're doing what they need to do. Now they still have 2 more games with the Packers, starting this Sunday.
Yep.
They have a game against the Niners, and they have a game to close out Week 18 with Detroit. And the Week 18 game with Detroit could be far off from the marbles. It could be to maybe sort number 1 seed, or it could be to get into the playoffs. Just depends on how these next 4 weeks go with the matchups. So I will give Ben Johnson an A+, man. I mean, he's done a great job of trying to find ways to get the cowboy out of Caleb Williams' game. And it's now in a fine-tune of a 7-2 record.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, when I look at the Bears, they have 2 superpowers right now, right? One is Ben Johnson and just his ability to design an offense. He said something really interesting. He talked about the other day or last week about how it's his job to limit 50-50 balls and stuff like that. It is literally his job to scheme guys open. That's the point of a good offense, a good passing offense. And I think he's been right that the Bears' passing struggles don't just rest on Caleb Williams. I think it's been a plethora of things kind of working together. But their second superpower is their offensive line, because it works in conjunction with Ben Johnson's superpower as a play caller, but their ability to just create mismatches. And those guys up front, shout out, Chiefs and Patriots legend Joe Tooney. because he got there and then that offensive line like jumped up a couple levels because they're moving guys. Like they bullied the Philadelphia Eagles, and they've been, creating these easy lanes for DeAndre Swift and Monangai, who have been really, really good at getting to second levels, making guys miss, turning a 4-yard gain into a 11-yard gain a lot of times. But with Caleb Williams, yeah, he's missed a lot of throws. Right, there's never been a number 1 seed in the NFL, or I think there's only been one. It's Rex Grossman, coincidentally, who had that low a completion percentage on a number 1 seeded team. But the thing with Caleb Williams that sets him apart from Rex is that he does some things that are special, right? So when I look at the Bears, it's like, man, how far, like, what's the standard deviation between the things you do really, really well, like special, and the things that drag you down? With Caleb, it's like basic accuracy. He struggles with that, but he also can make some of the most accurate special throws from different angles, that we've seen. So like, it's this dichotomy constantly working. Like he might miss a quick out, or he might sail the ball, to the flat 10 yards over, a running back or somebody's head. He might have a miscommunication with Rome Odunze where he's throwing to outside shoulder when Roman's breaking in. Like, those things happen a lot, too much, I would say, to the point where I feel like it lowers the Bears' ceiling as a contender, obviously, but he can also make some ceiling-raising throws and plays with his legs. Yeah. And they're really sustaining on that. It's like great running game and just enough Caleb Williams special plays to make up for it. And it's working right now. But that also sounds like a 9-3 team that you don't really believe in the playoffs. Yeah. Defense, like Coop said, the defense is much improved. Like they get timely stops. They get timely turnovers. Yeah. And again, for a defense that's not dominant, like getting enough turnovers to counter also with like those rare Caleb Williams plays and a great running game. That's a team you don't want to play this late in the season. So they've been really good, man. Like you said, Frank said, like that what comes up next will determine what level we can put them at. But I think they're properly in the level that they're at.
Yeah, the road's going to get tougher, as Frank said, but at with 9-3, they're in good spot. Like they've got a couple of easier games in there also that maybe they can, they can get. And with the Packers, I mean, yeah, the Packers are 8-3-1, but half the season they played, kind of down to the level of competition. You never know what you're going to get out of the Packers, although they have been playing better lately. Yeah. Shout out to Marcy in the chat. She mentions asks the question, is this the season of the underdogs? She mentions about how the Bears are roaring. You got the Pats now have won 10 straight. They're 11-2. Hell, the Cowboys beat the two teams in the Super Bowl in the same week, knocking off the Eagles and Chiefs. It's an interesting season. I don't know if it's a season of underdogs, but it might be the changing of the guard in some ways, because we're going to have the Chiefs and Bills are not going to win their division. And that's going to be the first time that, for the Bills, 5 or 6 years. For the Chiefs, it's been like a decade, right? So like we're seeing some some of the older teams are kind of filtering their way out maybe, and you got some newer teams coming back up.
I wouldn't say it. I understand what Marcy means. Like I think from it kind of seems like that. At least the perception of it is. I think it's a season of there's just not a lot of delineation between teams. You know what I'm saying? Like every team has a flaw. If you look at the Bills versus the Patriots, right? Like the Bills are great pass defense, great running team, really good passing offense. Yeah. The Patriots suck, the Bills suck against the run, but the Patriots don't run that well. So it's like every team, this team struggles with that team, which struggles with that team, which struggles with that team. So there's just not a lot of distinction, I would say. There's not really a gap between good, really good, and mediocre. Mediocre team could beat a really good team very easily. We see a lot in college now, right? I think the NFL is starting to mirror that, where there's I wouldn't even call it parity. It's just It's a bunch of good to really good teams who can look like a great team in a given week, but not on a week-to-week basis. I think that part is over for right now. Hell, we just passed Thanksgiving, and the leading passer in the NFL has like 3,000 yards. Like this, we talked about like defenses kind of catching up to offense. And we're seeing that like there's been a repression or depression of statistical anomalies, this year that we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, no doubt. Going back to the chat, we got a new guy in the chat here. We got Dat Boy Twink, 1986 with the question: who is the most surprising team this year? Frank, who do you think? Is it the Bears? Maybe it's the Bears.
Surprising team this year. Surprising good, is it just surprising bad, or just surprising period?
I'm not sure. Let's take it whichever way you want to.
I would say the Ravens. I mean,
yeah, you mean the AFC North leading Ravens?
Yeah, I mean, but they were 1-5 at one point, and they could miss the playoffs. Like I don't think Lamar is healthy. I think the hamstring or the calf, wherever injury he had that he hurt against the Chiefs, I think he came back too soon. I think he had to come back too because Cooper Rush just didn't look good. He's not running, and a lot of his passing and be able to be accurate with the passing and the passing lanes is because he has a threat to run. So guys have to like really be a spy and watch out for the run. He's not running right now, and I think the rest of his game is suffering because of that. And they didn't look good against Cincinnati. They got dominated by a Cincinnati team that's now 4-8. Like, yeah, they're leading the charge right now in the NFC North, but Cincinnati is still in it, and Burrow's back. Like, the Cincinnati Bengals can win the division. Think about this; they could win the division. Like, this is how wacky the AFC North is. So, as far as just surprise predicaments, the Ravens are just shocking to me. They don't look good right now, at least not offensively. I play a lot of fantasy football, and Zay Flowers, who was a first-round pick. Zay Flowers' points per game in fantasy has gone down each of the last 3 years. He's averaging 10 points. He's averaging 9.8 fantasy points per game. His rookie year, he averaged 10.4. This is a guy. Now, is he a first-round talent? Maybe not, but the fact that he was drafted in the first round and he was really relied upon to be a featured guy in the offense is a bigger issue, that they don't have a go-to guy offensively, whether it's Rashard Bateman, whether it's Zay Flowers. Mark Andrews has, he's been good, but he's getting long in the tooth as well. So I'll say the Ravens. And then as far as surprising good, I didn't think the Pats would be 9-2 right now. I knew the Pats would be good.
11-2.
I'm sorry, 11-2. I'm sorry. I knew the Pats would be good. I didn't think number one seed in the AFC. The playoffs going through Foxborough Gillette Stadium good. That's surprising to me. The jump that Drake May has made is almost reminiscent of the jump that Josh Allen made from year 2 to year 3.
Yeah. The Patriots were my pick. And I think in some ways, even with their schedule, this is why I say they are my most surprising team, because I think in hindsight, it's easy to look at the schedule, like literally the easiest schedule maybe in history, and say, well, yeah, they're 11-2. Like, look at who they're playing. It's, essentially the Bills and a bunch of cupcakes. But when you look at the Patriots, young quarterback, second-year quarterback, young receiving core for the most part, outside of Stephon Diggs, young running back core, young O-line, especially on the left side, right? You got a rookie left tackle and a rookie left guard. Like, this is a young team for the most part, and you expect a young team, even with an easy schedule, to stumble in some type of way. And they've been remarkably consistent for a young team. And I think that's been the most surprising. Like, the record being what it is what it is. But they could have been, 9-4 and I would be just as impressed, right?
Yeah.
Because young teams, they have those slip-up games where nothing goes right. The offense isn't moving, and that offense has been pretty consistent and kind of hums regardless of the level of competition, which speaks a lot to, Josh McDaniels and, the job he's done, and the trust that Vrabel has put in both the quarterback and the OC. But, Drake May, for a guy who, for at least the beginning part of his rookie year, just simply didn't look good. And then turned to something I raved about him last year on this podcast towards the end of the year. Obviously, I watched a lot of, Drake May at Carolina because he's part of the May dynasty at UNC. So I always thought he was good, but like I didn't see the jump from MVP candidate in year 2. And just like the consistency in how good he's been, really each game, like in each possession, like you see him process information quickly, not really make a lot of the same mistakes twice. Like he can legitimately challenge for like being in that top 5 quarterback combo with another consistent year next season. So the Patriots beat my team.
Yeah, Drake May, he's throwing bombs, like just throwing bombs to guys I've never heard of, or guys that I didn't know before this season. So very impressive.
It's the consistent intermediate throws. Like he threw that fade route to Boutte last night, and I expected it to be on the money, and it was on the money. Like you just have this expectation with him now that like with the throw he made from the end zone on like 2nd and 20 something in the middle of like cover 2 zone was one of the best throws all year. And it didn't even shock me when he made it. I was just like, in awe of it. But it's like, oh yeah, Drake May is just making those type of throws now.
I'm just kind of over the whole Patriot thing. Like they don't deserve this. Like I'm just like, if you're 25 years old, this is all you know. Like you've only had 3 years of like shit. And like now you have another quarterback that's going to be there for another 15 years and compete for Super Bowls moving forward. Like this is bullshit. I'm really tired of the Patriot kingdom. I'm really tired of these motherfuckers always having their way. Like they just survive in like following quarterbacks. Like even in the 90s, like with Drew Bledsoe, and like they've had mainstays throughout the last 35 years of like Patriot football. Man, fuck those guys, man.
Hey man, do any of us deserve this? Do we deserve to root for maybe the best quarterback ever? You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you just got to take the blessings as you give them, man. I don't live in poverty anymore, man. I don't. I understand. I understand wealth now. You know what I'm saying?
This is ridiculous. Like,
with it, man. Hey.
He's so good already in year 2. It boggles my mind how great he can be, because like the intermediate throws, the anticipatory ability he has. If Caleb had 30% of that, of the anticipation level that May has, Caleb will be MVP this year. Like May is that good, and it's like he's going to get better. And if I'm Josh McDaniel, bro, you found your calling. You are OC. Don't go 15-2 and think that you're better than this, and go get the Raider job and fail, or go get the Saints job and fail. You are OC. You are this generation's Brad Childress. You are this generation
Spags.
Spags. Like you want, like this is your lane. Stick to this lane. Collect AFC championships and playoff appearances and Super Bowl appearances, and be happy. Get free beers in New England for the rest of your fucking life. Stop trying to be a head coach. This is your calling. This is what you do.
Imagine how conflicted I am. Drake May might be my second favorite quarterback to watch in the league. Like, and hopefully might have to go through him to get to a Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? We have to go through Foxborough. Like that might be a thing, going forward. So, especially if Lamar and Josh, fall off, and there's gonna be some major changes there. But
I mean, think about this: like Lamar and Josh had 5 years to get the shit together. Now you got this motherfucker coming out of New England. Like, this is another guy you have to contend with. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what, like, if you're a Bills fan and a Ravens fan and you watching that game last night, yes, this is against the Giants. I get it. But still, like, when you look at the skill level that May has and know that he's going to get better when he watches more film and when he gets more reps, he's going to get better. So if you're a Josh Allen guy or a Lamar guy, there has to be a high level of concern. This is another guy we have to contend with now.
Yeah, the window for the Bills and Ravens is kind of closing a lot faster than maybe they expected. Meanwhile, the Patriots window is wide open again, which it is kind of unfair given the run they had with Brady. Want to go back to the chat again. I got another question here. Got asking the question about what team do you think will end up being a fluke and totally implode come playoff time? I'll take this one because I don't know if they're even going to make the playoffs, and that's the Colts, the team that looked like the best team in football. Now their quarterback, Daniel Jones, last week it was reported he's playing with a broken fibula, which before the Texans game on Sunday, I was thinking having a broken fibula is not a great thing to have against the Texans. I mean, it could have been a severely broken fibula. I was kind of expecting us to get one of those like crazy injuries in that game. It didn't happen, but Tristan, I'll go with you. What do you think's going on with the Colts? Like, do they just not have anybody they can put in there? I mean, Daniel Jones, he seems compromised, don't you think? Like, I mean, the fact that
Honestly,
he can't be mobile like he usually is, he does bring a little bit of mobility to the game.
if you told me that he was perfectly healthy, I wouldn't have been shocked. And like this isn't even really a diss to Daniel Jones. I thought he was really, really good first half of the season. And I thought he was really good because the conditions around him were really good. And he thrived in that. Like I found no flaw with his play from weeks 1 through like 8. What's happened is teams have adjusted and they've decided, we're going to sell out on Jonathan Taylor, and compromise or not, like that was going to bring down his performance just in general. I didn't expect it to be this bad. Like, I think he's hit on like one of his last 18 third downs, which is wild. So I didn't expect that dramatic a drop, but your flaws are your flaws, man. No matter who you are, no matter where you go, you are who you are. You know what I'm saying? And Daniel Jones is a guy who thrives when he can obviously get outside the pocket and make plays. When he has a clean field to kind of to read from out of play action. And when teams take that away and say, like, no, actually, we want the ball in your hands. We want you to make those throws from the pocket. Like, that's always been a flaw of his, and that's going to continue to be a flaw of his until he fixes it, if he does. You know what I'm saying? Like, he wasn't good at that in college. You know what I'm saying? Like, at this point, Daniel Jones is who he is. You just have to construct a really, really good offense around him to like maximize that. But that's what's happened. And defensively, they were never a Sauce Gardner away from like being like true Super Bowl contenders. Like, they have a good defense, but like there's nothing like excellent about it. Like, secondary was never excellent. Their pass rush was never excellent. They're a heavy zone team who just recently started playing more man. Like, they're gonna get picked apart, against certain quarterbacks, which we've seen as well. So they were a good team who were playing really great early when the conditions were great. Once teams made those adjustments, they just haven't been as good.
Yeah, and now they're not even leading the AFC South. Now the Jaguars are now at 8-4 for the leader. Yeah, and the Texans
are not good.
They're not good, but they're like they won't go away. They're 8-4. They're leading the division. I mean, obviously they're tied with the Colts record wise. The Texans are right there behind them, 7-5. Frank, before we get to the Texans' opponent on Sunday, which we're going to talk about here in a second, what are your thoughts on the AFC South right now?
I think the Texans are going to win the division. I think they're going to. They're hitting their stride right at the right time. I mean, CJ was playing well before he got hurt. Like he had gotten a little bit of a streak before he went down, but the defense is just on fire. Like they could put the final nail in the coffin this Sunday against KC. Like that defense travels. That like that pass rush is something serious. As far as the Colts, for your quarterback to have a broken leg or fractured leg, what does that say about your backup quarterback situation to where you say, I'd rather play my broken leg, fibula-ridden quarterback than Anthony Richardson? Think about that. He has a fractured fibula, and I'm sure it's pretty bad. The fact that it's fractured for a running mobile quarterback, and to not even think about taking him out for the means of, for the main short term to play Anthony Richardson says a lot about how they feel about Anthony Richardson. That's crazy to me. That's wild.
Isn't he still hurt? Isn't he? He had like a face thing, like an eye thing.
He might be. I mean, if that's the case, I don't know if he's back, but for them,
I don't think he's back.
I think he's
I'm
still
not totally sure.
I think he's still on IR.
Okay.
But they have
the whole season.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's out for the rest of the year. Yeah.
Okay.
But they do have Riley Leonard, who was the Notre Dame quarterback from last year, who played in the national title game. So,
well, yeah. I mean, that tells me why the Mr. Fracture is still playing. Then they don't have anybody they can trust behind the signal caller. No, I mean, and when I watch the Jags play football, I'm just waiting for the implosion to happen. Like they don't do anything well. Like Lawrence he does just enough. He's elitely consistently inconsistent. The running game is inconsistent at best as well. There are games where ETN looks good. There are games where he's non-existent. I don't know how they're doing it. They are really truly just doing it with like hopes and dreams and the wishes and whims of like being right above 500, and that's a playoff team. That's what's crazy to me. Like the Jags, the Colts, and the Broncos are potential playoff teams. It's gonna be a boring ass AFC playoffs if those two teams get in.
It's gonna be a field goal.
They're all one and done, bro.
Yes.
So Tristan, let's get to it. Let's talk about the Chiefs. And first off, so the Chiefs lost to the Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day. By the way, one of the better Thanksgiving Day games I can ever remember. And I've watched them for 40-something years that I can remember watching those games. And all three games Thanksgiving Day were pretty good. But that Cowboys-Chiefs game, to have probably the two most high-profile teams in the league playing each other in front of probably the second biggest audience behind the Super Bowl, Thanksgiving Day, where you have almost a captive audience of people around the table eating turkey and watching football. That was a very good game. Unfortunately, your team did not get the win. The Chiefs are now 6-6. What do you think about their chances of making it in the tournament?
Slim, very slim. Let's call it what it is. The chances are slim. Starting with like Coop said it, like Sunday is going to be a big one. I do think they'll win because they're at home, and I think while that defense is amazing, like all levels, right? Pass rush, secondary, stopping the run, linebacking core. The Chiefs have had at least last year, they had success against that offense and like moving the ball and finding different zones to attack it. It's going to be tough. I could see Patrick Mahomes getting pressured kind of at the same rate that he did against Buffalo. But even if they do, they have to win out. Yeah, they definitely have to win out. They do definitely have to sweep the last part of their division. There's some things systematically with them that even if they do get into the playoffs, I feel like it's going to go back to 2021 levels of, defense kind of doing just enough and a lot of, Pat save us. There's things that absolutely need to get cleaned up. That defense has to hit another level, especially on third down. Like they've given up the most third and longs of any respectable team in the league. They have issues with like linebackers covering in space. Teams just taking advantage of that, and it's been one of the biggest reasons that they are 6-6 by almost every metric available. The Chiefs offense is playing, at a top 5 to 7 rate. But they're not taking advantage of a lot of opportunities. They're one of the absolute best fourth down teams in the league, maybe the best fourth down team in the league. And there was a couple times on Thursday, 4th and 2, 4th and 4, that they should have went for it, right? Like the offense was working at a certain level that it really can't afford. Like the Chiefs already don't get a ton of possessions because they have these long drives that may or may not end in touchdowns. Like you can't waste a possession by treating the fourth down like it's 4th and 11. You know what I'm saying? Like those are just some of those opportunities that you have to take, especially when you're so successful with it and you have the best quarterback on earth. So like it's things like that make that give me, I don't know about pause, but like those are things that just I think are going to worry me as the season goes on, however it ends.
Yeah. Frank, looking at the Chiefs, the rest of their schedule, Tristan kind of touched on this a little bit. You got the Texans game on Sunday night, which is Sunday Night Football at KC. I do think KC wins that game. I do think it's going to be like a low score. I think it's like 16-12 or something. I don't see the Texans are not a team that puts up a lot of points. The Chiefs really don't either. So I think that'll be kind of a close one. But if you look at their schedule going forward, they're facing the Chargers, who, by the way, their quarterback broke his left hand. He had surgery yesterday. I don't think they've made it clear whether he's playing this weekend or not. That could be something that works out in the Chiefs' favor going forward. Then you get at the Titans, you face the Broncos again, and then finish at the Raiders. So Frank, what do you see? What do you forecast for the Chiefs' final 5 games?
I mean, look, I am a fan of Kansas City. I love Kansas City, but I'm also a realist. When you lose tiebreakers to everybody who's ahead of you, you lost to Jags, you lost to the Broncos, you lost to the Chargers. Yeah. Yes, you have round 2 of the Chargers and Broncos, but because you're so many games back, and both the Chargers and Broncos are 3 or 4 games ahead of you, plus the tiebreaker, it just makes it very difficult to like make up that ground. Yeah. Houston is the only other team that you can possibly win a tiebreaker against. But again,
the Colts too.
Well, yeah, the Colts as well. But even with the Colts, you're 3 games back with 4 to play. So it just makes it very, very difficult to make up ground when you lose tiebreakers to almost everybody ahead of you. You have to win. You have to win Sunday. You have, like, the playoffs really started for them against the Broncos 2 weeks ago. Yeah. And to drop 2 of the last 3, it just makes it very, very difficult. The defense have had issues. Systematically, one thing that can like remedy a very average pass defense is a good pass to great pass rush. Yeah. And George Karlaftis and Chris Jones are the 2 highest paid guys in our defense. And the fact that those guys aren't producing at the money that they're making at that level, it's showing. Yeah, does Karlaftis get pressure? Sure. But if I'm paying you 90-something million, $60-something million guaranteed, I need you to finish those and get sacks and create down and distance issues for the opposition. Chris Jones had a good game against the Colts, but the Chris Jones 2 years ago that had 13, 14 sacks, that's not the Chris Jones that we're getting. And it's almost a coincidence when the 2 highest paid pass rushers on your team aren't producing to the level that you need to produce, and now the rest of the defense is suffering because of it.
The interesting thing is, obviously you're correct. Chris Jones has not been, like, he's obviously lost a step, but he's still been able to like draw double teams. They're like, even in his semi on the verge of watch them, he's still able to like draw 2. The issue is Karlaftis, as Frank mentioned, Menahu, like Dana, like a lot of these guys are not able to like get consistent pressure. You know, they're not able to get into the backfield, man. Like you see the times where you see a still picture of like two guys on Chris, and then everybody else is just 4 or 5 yards away, like not able to get separation, not able to. I'll forget a sack, man. I'll take flushing the quarterback out of the pocket. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll take that. You know, some pressures. Like we're not even getting that, and it's showing a lot on third down. It's the third and longs, man. Third and longs killed them. 3 games this year. Mahomes has led a fourth quarter drive to take the lead. Last year, they won every single one of those games. This year, they lost 3 of them. Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, and 3rd and 15 on the sideline to Brian Thomas Jr. over Jalen Watson. Bo Nix, multiple third and longs on the last drive. A 3rd and 15, a 3rd and 17 where Spags declined to bring pressure and nobody could get home. And it was essentially pitch and catch for a first down to keep that drive going. And then, Dak just kind of carved them up on third down. It didn't even look difficult, right? Like they got whatever they wanted. Slants, dig routes, whatever they wanted, and they had to resort to playing a lot of zone, and you just simply kind of giving up the ass at that point. So again, they have to win Sunday. They have to really essentially win out. There's no other option. But again, even if they do, like there's some major issues there that remind me of like the Chiefs that, people keep saying they want to see back. But I have to remind people, and Frank will tell you as somebody who roots for the Chiefs, it didn't feel good in 2018 when Brady was driving and just having Gronk post up against like Kendall Fuller. And, like it didn't feel good, in that 48-51 Rams game on Monday Night Football, where, again, it looked like they were playing 7-on-7. Like it didn't feel good in 2021 with Josh Allen twice in the span of a minute drove, game should have been game-winning touchdown drives. Like that stuff didn't really feel good. And a lot of it was Mahomes save us. Now the offense was good enough to like lift all boats. But like at this point, like there's just natural regression in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Like in the offense is, while it is statistically good, it's efficient. It's not explosive in the ways that it used to be. So like if the defense is going to play like it is, then as blasphemous as it is to say, like they're a one and done team anyway. So like the defense has to hit a level, in order to win out, and then in order to like actually make a run if they do make it.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how it plays out for the Chiefs. I mean, it's kind of funny because they're 6-6, but it's like they really don't feel like they're like a bad team. Like they don't feel like they're not a playoff team, but it's just like all those one-win games or one possession losses or wins they had last year have now become losses this season. And it's just like, it just shows you how like the margin in the NFL is so slim. And it's every week, it's most of these games you look at, they're like 3-4 point games every single week. So
the Chiefs have a statistical profile of a 9-4 team, well, leaving like 10-3 team, and like the habits of a 2-9 team. Like that's just who they are. They're like they have some habits that are going to bite them in the ass one way or another this year. And, we're seeing that play out. We saw that in person, and I've never been more frustrated after a football game. It's been a long time, right? It's been decades since I've been that frustrated, watching a football team. I couldn't even eat. Frank will tell you, I didn't even want to eat. Like, if we had microphones that night, like that would have been gold. Like, but you saw it all play out. You saw uncreative offense in key moments, and you saw a defense that couldn't get off the field when it needed to. And then you just saw like this stupid, uncharacteristic mistakes, penalties on third down, to like put them behind the sticks. And it just accentuated every single flaw that they have that has, normally been covered up. It's just not good enough to cover up those flaws anymore right now.
Yeah, it's just, I think also too with the offense, and the offense has played well in spots, but like Tristan said, it's just the lack of creativity. There was a a route combination in that Cowboys game that I threw my phone against the wall. I was so pissed.
Was it the Was it the 3 curls on like 2nd and 19?
Not that one. That was second. It was the 2 slants and the slot go with Kelsey on 2nd and 9. Like Kelsey's, you have 4 guys that run 4-3, 4 guys, and the one fly route was a 36-year-old tight end down the field. I'm like, bro, what the fuck are we doing? Why is the slowest guy on the roster running a fly route and all the other guys running underneath? You're running Kelsey off to create space underneath for 4-3 guys. Make that make sense. And it's for me, it's like, I wonder what Sean McVay would do with his personnel, or somebody from the Sean McVay coaching tree would do with his personnel. I'll take the quarterback coach with the Rams right now to come revamp this offense. Like, there's no creativity. There's no the pre-snap motion's not there. The route combinations, create separation's not there, and you can tell Pat's just not trusting the system. He's like even in that Colts game, guys are running open throughout that game, but Pat, he had the inability to let the ball go and just trust your read. He's over-reading, which is rare to say for an elite quarterback, but he's going through his progression so fast, left to right, that he's not letting the ball go when he sees somebody open. And he's trying to hold on for a bigger play. And that, to me, tells me, for a 30-year-old quarterback to overread the way that he's doing, tells me that he doesn't trust the system and the play calling and the installs every week. Like, to have 2 weeks off, come off a bye, and look the way they look against Denver offensively, looking so flat, so inconsistent, that's what told me they need a new voice on the offensive side of the ball, as far as like a play caller, because you can't come off a bye week and look that unprepared the way they looked against Denver.
Bro, it was a 2nd and 19. Pat got sacked. They ran 3 or 4 curls, like 10 yards short of the sticks. Like, literally, they all curled at the same time. That's the one I thought you were talking about, because that's the one that ran me hot. But I second all that, man. It pains me as someone who's rooted for Andy Reid since I was 14. I think it's time for him to take more of a CEO role, head coach role, and give play calling and play design duties to somebody else, somebody outside the tree, somebody who can bring in some new voice. There just needs to be more innovation in the offense, with motion, with the route concepts, with the receivers, with the running game, using running backs as receivers. Like, I shouldn't be able to look on the field. We talked about this after the Denver game, like walking 20 minutes, to a bar. Like, I shouldn't be able to look on the field, see the personnel, and tell you what the play is. I'm not a football expert, you know what I'm saying? But I watch enough to notice patterns. Like, oh, Rashard Smith is in the game. You're going to bring him, have him in the backfield, and you're going to motion him out. He's going to run a simple, whatever. What's going to happen for the most part. And that tells me, hey, man, Andy's lost his fastball, because 5 years ago, you just weren't able to guess these things. Like, you weren't able to notice those patterns, and there was innovation there. He seemed ahead of the curve, and he doesn't seem like that anymore. I think that's a good thing. Like, sometimes you just need that new voice, and I think we're at that point.
Yeah, it's been shaky since Bieniemy left. Once Bieniemy left and Nagy came into the fold, the offense has been this inconsistent, like this with the offense. It hasn't gone like this at all. It's been like this with a game of a heartbeat of and then back to underperforming as far as just productivity and creativity.
So we started the pod off with Bears talk, but in the chat we have LW Mechanical asking us for more Bears talk. I'll give you this. Frank just brought it up. You had Matt Nagy, former Bears coach, on the offensive side in that Thanksgiving Day Classic. On the defensive side, you had Matt Eberflus, another former Bears coach, going head to head. So you had some monsters of the midway action in the middle of that game, calling. Not exactly two Mike Ditkas there, Eberflus and Nagy, but maybe they like, again, you mentioned McDaniels as a coordinator. These guys are coordinators. They're not head coaches. So anyway, that wraps it up for the AFC. Let's go back to the NFC because we just talked about the Bears. We didn't talk about anybody else, but let's hit on the NFC a little bit. You got the Rams are 9-3. You got the Eagles at 8-4. They've lost 2 in a row. You've got the Bucks who are 7-5. They're kind of surviving. You got the Seahawks at 9-3. They look pretty tough. Packers are 8-3-1. San Fran's 9-4. Then you got the Lions on the outside looking in at 7-5. The Cowboys 6-5-1 are still kind of in it. And the Carolina Panthers at 7-6, who pulled off the biggest upset of week 13 by beating the Rams, who were red hot until they ran into Carolina. So Tristan, take that where you want to. Who do you want to talk about from the NFC out of those playoff teams or potential playoff teams?
I want to talk about San Francisco.
Okay.
It's such an anomaly team because they lost their two greatest defensive players.
Yep.
In Bosa and
Fred Warner.
Fred Warner.
Yeah.
Best linebacker in the game, right? One of the best, pass rushers in the game, most years. He had a slight dip, last few years, but just productive, regardless as a floor. He's just a productive guy. And on the offensive side, you have Christian McCaffrey, putting up a OPOI level type season, catching the ball and running. And you have Brock Purdy, who just has progressively gotten worse as really since last year, right? And like I don't know what to make of that team, because you have a great play caller in Kyle Shanahan who, raises the level of any offense. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. Like he's going to raise it up, at least the floor. He's going to get guys open. He has developed since, the Atlanta Falcon debacle, 28-3 in the Super Bowl. He's developed a better balance between passing the ball and running. He has no problem saying, hey, this is not a Brock Purdy game. We talked about that with Jordan Love. Like sometimes you need LaFleur to be like, hey, this is not a Jordan Love game. Let's run the ball, right? I think more teams, the Bears, have said, hey, bro, Ben Johnson is quick to be like, hey, this is not a Caleb Williams game. We're going to run the ball. And like they've based their whole offense off it, and they're 9-3. Kyle Shanahan is probably the godfather of that. Like you will pass this ball 8 times this entire game if need be, right? So we've seen him do that and make that call. And he had to do that with Brock Purdy. It's like, I think he's really good at vocally, publicly saying, hey, we trust Brock. He's our guy. Like, hey, interceptions happen. These, it could be this reason, that reason. But overall, he's been good. But like we see it in the play calling. He in that second half against Carolina after those picks, like he took the ball out of Brock Purdy's hands. So they're a team, like they're the ultimate like floor ceiling team. Like the floor with them is always going to be high because the defense is always going to be good enough, especially with solid back. And the offense, the floor on that is always going to be good enough, solid because of McCaffrey alone, Trent Williams and that line. But like Brock, I feel like Brock Purdy's for the first time in his career is going to be their downfall. And so like they're because like their record should not be what it is with the level of quarterback play they've gotten for the most part. Like Mac Jones was good until he wasn't, but they just keep chugging along. Like they still have a chance at that division, right? As good as the Rams have been, like the 49ers have just managed to survive. So on one end, like you want to shout them out, like shout out to Kyle Shanahan, shout out to McCaffrey, and shout out to that defense for like making up for those losses. But ultimately, like this season is going to come down. Like this is the cruelty of football. Like you can have all these other things going well, but like if your quarterback is not playing at a high level in January, then you're doomed, right? Because especially with a guy like that with not a super strong arm who has to rely on anticipation, you got to go to Philly, you know what I'm saying? Like, some of these places, Green Bay, you know what I'm saying? Like that, those conditions, we're seeing it with Jared Goff. Like those conditions can have a really, really adverse effect on performance. and that ultimately can kill them.
Yeah. Frank, the NFC playoff picture, besides the Bears, who do you like, or even including the Bears, but who's out of that group of teams that are there, who you picking?
Man, I love the Seahawks, man. I just if you're the Vikings, man, you're just having buyer's remorse every fucking week, every fucking Sunday. When you roll in that JJ McCarthy or JJ McCarthy's clone that played this past Sunday.
Brosmer? What do you mean? He was pretty good.
But the Vikings have buyers and sellers remorse.
Yeah, like that's like to let that guy go and for him to like look as good, if not better, in that offense in Seattle right now. And for JSN is like, as far as statistical across the board, it's him and George Pickens as far as like production this year, as far as receivers, right? Sam Darnold is a big reason why JSN is doing what JSN is doing. And yes, he throws picks. He does. I'm not gonna lie, he does. But the level of him being able to raise the bar of that offense because of his ability to throw the ball downfield just creates so many opportunities for the run game, for intermittent passing game, for everything. And Darnold has a strong arm. And like Tristan alluded to with the weather, with Goff and Purdy, I trust Darnold in Philadelphia come January if he has to go there. I trust Darnold in Soldier Field with that offense and that play caller and that defense. You know, I think Seattle has an opportunity to go on a Washington Commanders type run into the NFC Championship game. They're really, really good. And even the game against the Vikings, they didn't play their best. Jason had his worst game of the year, and they still found a way to win. I like to judge quarterbacks on like when shit's not going right, when you're struggling, when you know the 4-pick game he threw against the Rams. Like, what do you do when shit ain't going right? How do you bounce back? How do you pivot with the game plan in the game? And Darnold has it, man. Like, it might be time, and Tristan talks about it in our group chat all the time. It might be time to start giving Darnold his respect. This is year 2 of like the Sam Darnold like revitalized experience, and he's passing all grades right now.
Bro, Donald, again, I think he's graduated to just he's a good quarterback. At worst, he's a good quarterback, right? And hell, three years ago, that would have been best case scenario. Now he's capable of having like a stretch where he looks like a great quarterback. Like, I don't think he's capable of carrying that for 17 games plus, 3 to 4 more in January/February. But like, he's a good quarterback, right? When you get that stretch of great games, they may vary, right? And he's also capable of he's capable of having 1 to 2, maybe 3 games a season where he just looks like dog shit. But like, I think he's also good enough to like overcome the dog shit parts, which we saw, like 4 picks, but they were also in that game. And you also felt like, hey, they could possibly still win this, and where before, if you would have had 2 picks and a half, you'd have been like, man, I think this shit is over. You know what I'm saying? I just don't think he can overcome that. So congrats, man. Like, you're a good quarterback, bro. Like, there's only 16 guys on planet Earth who can do this. So you got to acknowledge when one is like, there's enough consistency there to like move up in this quarterback ecosystem. So shout out to Sam Darnold, man.
You know that Wolverine meme where he's touching the photo of Jean Grey and cuts out Cyclops? That's Justin Jefferson cutting out JJ McCarthy and like putting Sam Darnold right back in that frame. That's
Bro, he did not know how good he had it. Like, that's crazy.
Yes.
There's a metaphor there for life. You know what I'm saying? Like, he did not know how good he had it.
The grass isn't always greener on the other side.
Now he's stuck with a meme. Like, like JJ McCarthy is a permanent meme at this point, more than he is a good quarterback.
Yeah, that's going to be that's kind of a messy situation right now. I mean, that was a team last year. What were they like? They were 14-3 or something.
Yeah,
they're 4-8 right now. That's tough. Frank, anything else about the NFC you want to touch on before we move on?
Yeah, the Eagles might miss the playoffs. They look like the Eagles from 2 years ago. Remember that weird run they had when they lost like 5 of 6 and like got blown out against was it Tampa they lost to?
Tampa,
yeah. They look like they don't have the answers. Like what Chicago did to them, that's not a one game like, oh, one game, let's throw away the game plan, let's go to next week. They got dominated against their strength. They have 2 mammoth tackles in the middle of that D line. And they got blown off the ball. I watched that game. They got blown off the ball. Like that intimidation factor that Philly had a year ago with Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. It hasn't been there. And if they can't get stops defensively and can't run the ball, what are you gonna rely on? Jalen Hurts passing you to victory? Like, part of the reason what made them so good last year is that Saquon had a Hall of Fame season and the defense was doing what they were doing, on that side of the ball. Now, two of those 3 phases of their identity is faltering, and they're kind of tailspinning right now, and they don't know what to do. And look, man, I like Jalen Hurts. I think he's a nice guy. If I had a daughter, I would want him to date Jalen Hurts. But like, it's only so many like one-liner, Sarah Dickens poems that one-liners that you can give me at the press conference. You gotta show up, bro. You gotta play better. You gotta you're the $55 million man. You gotta, when shit's not going right, they gotta look to you and be like, hey, can you fix this? Can you get us out of this rut? And I mean, there's been reports that some players in the locker room aren't happy with Jalen Hurts and like his approach to the game. And when shit like that starts coming out, it can get really, really weird really, really fast. And if Philly misses the playoffs after they start they had, don't be surprised if I want to say Sirianni. What's his name again? The head coach?
Nick Sirianni.
Sirianni. Philly has no problem getting off of coaches. I mean, they've shown that in the past. And I think these next 4 games are going to be a tall tale sign if Sirianni is here next year or not.
I mean, what do they do well? Like, we acknowledge that they have really good players at pretty much every position, right? What do they do well, right? They don't run the ball well, even with Saquon. They don't pass the ball well, even with Hurts and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. They don't Dallas Goedert, and they don't guard the run well, right? Their secondary isn't as good as it was last year. This is how I feel about the Eagles. There are at least 3 games now in this Chiefs season where I'm legitimately disappointed that we didn't win and win by a lot, right? One of them is the Eagles. That team was, I could tell in week 2, that team was for the taking. I thought that the Chiefs moved the ball almost effortlessly against them, and it just came down to like a Travis Kelce drop to a pick and a McDuffie, 3rd down that he gave up to Devontae Smith. It came down to those 2 plays for the most part, right? They're just not that good, right? And Frank talked about like Jalen Hurts and like his responsibility. The issue is he can't do it, right? Jalen Hurts is not the $55 million man because he's shown that he can consistently be an MVP level quarterback absent of like circumstances, right? Or context. Jalen Hurts is a $55 million man because he's a familiar guy that they have there. And when things are going well, he can look great. When the run game is great, when the play calling is consistent and innovative and, can get him to the spots on the field where he's comfortable throwing the ball to, he can be excellent. He's literally one of the best players in the league, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. The problem is, man, a lot of those things teams are starting to take away. I'm like, hey, bro, can you throw over the middle of the field? It's year, 6 in that 5, 6? Can you throw over the middle of the field? right? But he couldn't do it at Alabama. He couldn't do it at Oklahoma. He hasn't been able to do it now. Like he has four. Justin, we've said this a lot. He has four throws, right? Like he's a pitcher with like a four-seamer, two-seamer, a curve, and a slider. He has nothing else besides that. You know what I'm saying? And he just can't do it. So everything, like those flaws, are just getting accentuated more because Saquon is, after getting 450 to 500 carries last year, history in the NFL tells you that next year there's going to be a drop off in production. Like you just took too many hits, too many carries, too much of a load. Like last year, like again, the offense wasn't good last year, right? But they feasted on a defense that got takeaways and like huge explosive Saquon plays. And those huge explosive Saquon plays led to those huge explosive pass plays. If you weren't getting those explosive plays, like that offense just got bogged down because now Jalen Hurts has to make reads he simply is not good enough to make, right? And again, nice guy. He has all the intangibles, but like there's just things that he does not do that elite quarterbacks should be able to do to like raise the level of an offense. And he just can't do that shit. Like he's just not that good. Like he's good at the things he's good at, and he's horrible at the things that he's not, Yeah. And yeah, I totally agree. What does Sirianni do? He doesn't call plays. He doesn't oversee the defense. Hell, he doesn't even really hire his assistants. You know what I'm saying? So like he's a guy who coincidentally, I feel like in the position Andy Reid should be in. But like he's so easy to get rid of. Like last year, it seemed like they were going to get rid of him. Yeah. He doesn't seem like a guy people like. You know what I'm saying? So like, hey, bro, you got to win a Super Bowl, or you need to be like really well liked. And this year, I don't think either one is going to happen. So yeah, he could be out absent a back-to-back Super Bowl victory.
And I think too, like the revolving door at OC has been an issue for the Eagles as well. Like this is the third year they've had a different, OC. Kellen Moore is in New Orleans now. The Gannon's in Arizona from 2 years ago as well. I don't know if it's the revolving door of OCs, why coincidentally Jalen Hurts' learning curve of like taking on a new offense and like trusting Jalen Hurts with, hey, here's the playbook. Here's what this 80% of the playbook you can do. I trust you with that. I can put in your hands and be like, hey, make something happen. And when you watch their offense, it's so basic. It's a very elementary offense. Fade, slants, half waggle rollouts, tush push, QB draw. Like this is like when they do installs, those 4 or 5 things I just named are in installs every fucking Sunday. There's no complexity to their offense. And I think if you're OC taking that job, you're kind of like pissing in the wind because you can't fully run your offense that you want to run because of Jalen's inability to be able to like actually do those things in the offense.
Yeah, that team is it does seem like it like 2 years ago when they were kind of like this. And then last year, of course, was a Super Bowl team. The one thing I do want to point out with the Eagles, and I mean coaching in general, it seems like every coach now is going for it on fourth down all the time, everywhere. It doesn't matter where it is, which it makes it more exciting. But I have to say that sometimes like the math isn't mathing with these guys. Like for example, in the Eagles-Bears game, it's 24-9. Eagles score a touchdown under 3 minutes, makes it 24-15. So the Eagles are down by 9 points. You kick the extra point, you're down by 8. You're still within one possession of the Bears. They go for 2 to make it 7, which, you're constantly told, well, there's not much big difference between a 7 and 8, whatever. You go for 2 there. They don't get the 2. Now you're down by 9, which is 2 possessions with 3 minutes to go, under 3 minutes to go. How does that make any sense? Like, I just don't get it. Like if you kick the extra point, which is a higher percentage play than going for 2, you still have a chance. If you don't get that, if you go for 2 and don't get it, it's over. Like, I just don't understand that.
This is where I will defend it. I'll defend the logic behind it. One, I believe if you don't get that 2 point like if you can't get that 2-point conversion, you're fucked anyway, right? I do appreciate wanting to, okay, this is how many points we need, on the second drive.
Yeah.
I also look at it in being down 9. I think the misconception is we're like, okay, we want to be down 8 because after this, because it'll be a 1 possession. Like, you still need a score again. Like, that's the 8 points is really just a tie. So I think you have to look at that as like a 3 possession, because we're going to need another possession in order to take the lead and actually win. So like, I get the logic behind it. I think what clouds that decision is a lot of times with like statistical analysis is the context behind it. And for the context behind it, for all the reasons that we just spent the last 10 minutes talking about, do you have an offense that is consistent enough to get that 2-point conversion and then drive down the field, in a timely fashion to get possibly another, touchdown to like tie, take the lead, whatever. So like having Jalen Hurts and having that offense and the inconsistencies in that offense kind of it affects like the risk profile that you want to have in that particular situation. But overall, I agree with the logic. It's just the context needs to match it as well.
But I mean, let's say you get it. So now you're down by 7. Or you tell me, whenever you get the ball back, if you get the ball back and you go score, are you going to go for 2 for the win? Or are you going to try to tie it? They're probably going to tie it. Like, if you're at home, I mean, if you're away, maybe you go for the win. Like the Commanders were at home. They went for the win against the Broncos, and in overtime they lost. But like, I don't know.
I'll say, answer this question. Which one do you think is harder? Getting 2 yards for a conversion for 2 points,
right?
Or driving the length of a field in a minute 12? They're like, if you can't get the 2 points again, you're naturally fucked anyway. Like, I think that's, I think we have to like, I say that about like 4th and 1s. Like, you punting on 4th and 1. If you can't get 1 yard, how good are you anyway?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I understand the risk that comes with it. Like, hey, if you don't get it, you're down 9, and like, hey, the game has gotten exponentially harder to win. But like, I also think that you have to like kind of take those risks in order to win in the first place. If you're already down that amount of points with that little time left, like you just gotta take some risks anyway. It's like throwing in double coverage in certain situations where you probably wouldn't, because it's 4th and 11 and you're out of time, whatever. Like, you have to up the risk profile a lot of times if you're already at a severe disadvantage as it is, because you're down. I mean, you're in a hole. I get it. I think that like by kicking it, you extend the game. You give yourself 2.5 minutes or whatever of extra time where you can potentially force overtime, that's where you can go win the game. Or maybe you go for 2 on the touchdown. That's fine. But to me, like, whenever you basically make those last 2.5 minutes worthless, because now you have to get the ball back twice. Like, you haven't scored twice the whole damn game. Now you're going to score twice in the last 2.5 minutes. Like, the chances of that are pretty slim. So I'll leave it. Again, for what you just said, you're probably already fucked.
Well, yeah, like, of course. Yeah. I mean, they weren't going to win the game, but like, to me, it's like, if you don't get the 2 points there, just walk off the field. Like, why do we have to sit through the 2.5 minutes of you? Now you're down by 9. Like, what's going to happen now? Like a magic trick that somehow you're going to score and then get an onside kicker. I mean, it's not going to happen. So, anyway, so that does it for our look at the NFC. Just real quick, let's talk about week 14 games. There are some massive, basically playoff games coming up this week. We've already talked about the Texans and Chiefs, but you got the Cowboys at Lions on Thursday. You got the Bengals at Bills, Steelers at Ravens, the NFC North up for grabs, Colts and Jags, AFC South up for grabs. You got the Bears, Packers. We talked about that before. And then we have the Eagles and Chargers next Monday night. So of those games, Frank, besides the Texans Chiefs game, which one of those is like the biggest, most important game?
You know what? I'm gonna throw a curveball here, man. The Bengals and Bills games is interesting to me because if the Ravens lose, oh, is that what you're gonna say?
Go ahead, bro.
It's a 12 o'clock game. It's not a national game. It's gonna fly under the radar of all of the big games.
Yeah.
But if the Bills if the Bengals win that game, and if the Ravens lose to the Steelers, the Bengals are in first place. Like,
well, no, they won't be in first place because they'll be 5-8.
Yeah.
And then the Steelers. I mean, the Steelers and Ravens are both 6-6. So the winner of that game will be 7 behind. Yeah.
Okay.
But but the reality of the Bengals winning that division becomes more of a reality, I guess you could say. Like it's
because
more
they
of a
still have the
realistic
game left
option.
with the Ravens, and they still have the game left with the Steelers.
Right.
Both teams who they already beaten. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's there, like it's there for the taking. And I feel like New England's already sold the division. I know they got one more game against the Bills, but the Bills can't lose Sunday. If they still have a glimmer of hope of like trying to win the division, they cannot lose Sunday to the Bengals. They just can't. And if they do, then the New England Drakes are probably flying to a division, AFC East title. Yeah, and the second will be Lions and Cowboys. Like the Lions are 7-5, Cowboys 6-5-1. The Lions are in desperate mode now. Like if they lose this game to Dallas, yes, you have week 18 in Chicago, but do you really want to be in a win you're in situation in week 18? I'd rather take care of business this week and next week in Detroit and avoid, having to like scratch and fight your way to the playoffs in week 18.
Yeah. I was gonna say Bengals Bill. That was my curveball. Fastball for me, number one is Cowboys Lions. I think that's a massive game for like different reasons. Like Cowboys win, they're soaring 3 in a row against 3, playoff teams from last year, 2 Super Bowl teams from last year. Dak is throwing his hat into MVP race. If they win, it also means that the defense is playing really well, which is a good sign going forward. I don't know if the Cowboys have enough to make up. Like it's going to take some teams kind of dropping back to like for me to feel comfortable with them as like a potential playoff team. But for the Lions, man, Dan Campbell talked about it a couple of years ago. Like you never know when your last shot is your last shot. Like in Windows, we've been talking all podcast and about like the margin between these teams. So like the Lions can be a 15-2 team one year and then, like I said, miss the playoffs. And like this could be the best. 2 years ago could have been the best year, or even last year. Last year could have been the best year that they ever had. You know what I'm saying? In this particular era. So that's a big, big, big game. Neither team has a rest advantage, right? So that this should be like the rare Thursday game where, both teams don't look dragged down by playing, previous Sundays. And then secondly, I mean, man, Bears-Packers. Yeah. Bears-Packers in Lambeau. That's going to be a massive, massive game. That's a 3:25 game. So like that game is going to tell us, we talked about this earlier, how good a team Chicago is. Right. Also, how good a team Green Bay is. Like, that's a team I think that I don't know how definitively better they are than the Bears, but like there's things that they do better. Like the quarterback is better. The receiving core is better. Their pass rush is better. So like they should be able to kind of lean on the Bears in a way that, a lot of teams just haven't been able to do. And like that essentially could that could be the division. Right. Like, obviously they play again later, but like this game here could determine it. Maybe Chicago goes on a tailspin if they lose. Maybe the Packers, lose a little bit of focus if they lose. We don't know. Right. Steelers, Ravens, obviously, like that could be the division. I know they have another one after this, but just an AFC North game where neither team is really good and the quarterbacks haven't been good at all. But both defenses are, kind of improving piece by piece. I know the Steelers got bludgeoned by Buffalo in the run, but overall, like the defense has been kind of trending up, even if it's kind of gradual. The Ravens defense has been trending up. These are just two inept offenses, bro. Two inept offenses that can't rely on their quarterbacks to like make plays out of the pocket. Let's call it what it is. So yeah, man, we got some massive ones this weekend.
Yeah, it should be a really good week of football. And speaking of football, let's talk about last weekend. Let's go to the college game because it was rivalry week last weekend. And the biggest rivalry for us in Texas is I guess you could say it's Texas and A&M, although I think Texas considers Oklahoma their rival, not so much A&M. But once again, the Longhorns beat the Aggies. The Aggies were undefeated. They were hoping to be playing in the SEC title game. UT dashed those hopes with a 10-point win in Austin. And my question for y'all, just as we get into this, Texas 9-3, do they deserve to be in the college football playoff field of 12? Frank, let you take that first.
No, they don't. And I'm a Texas fan. Look, when they went to 12 games or 12 teams with the automatic bids and all of that, more money for the CFP, more money for college. There's always going to be 13, 14, and 15 complaining. Whereas the college football players with top 4, 5, and 6 complaining, they're always going to complain. The remedy to like avoid any type of like controversy is to win the games you're supposed to win. It's that simple. I'm very consistent. Last year it was Bama. When the crowd about Bama not getting in and it's fucked up and South Carolina, I'm like, bro, win your fucking games. Like, it's been pretty consistent the last couple of years. If you have 3 losses, you're setting yourself up at the mercy of the committee. You cannot have 3 losses and expect to be in the discussion. What they've shown the last 2 years now is that when you have 3 losses, or you have a bad third loss, chances are you're not going to get in. And it's funny, like UT. I'm on the UT message boards last Saturday. They're watching the OU game closely. They're watching the Iron Bowl with Auburn and Bama. Yeah. They're watching all these games, hoping that somebody slips up. It's like when you get to a point as a fan when you're hoping for another team downfall for you to get in, that tells me that you didn't take care of your business as a program. And so Keaton's been on College Football Daily and ESPN counting down, like talking politicking and all that kind of stuff. Look, man, I get it. You beat 3 top 5, you beat 3 top 10 teams at the time: Vandy, OU, and A&M. Congratulations. You also lost to Florida. You also was down 24 points to Mississippi State in the fourth quarter and had to come back. It also took you overtime to beat Kansas. I'm saying Kansas, Kentucky. Yeah. These games here, those count. Like you didn't look good in those games. And BYU, yeah, they have 1 loss. Have they played anybody? No. But guess what? BYU knew they had a shaky ass schedule, they had an easy ass schedule, and they took care of business. They have 1 loss. Now, if they beat Texas Tech, they're good. They're golden.
But if they lose to Texas Tech again, how can you have 2 Big 12 teams? Like, the Big 12 is not a power conference. I mean, it's really not. Like, there's 2 power conferences. There's the SEC, the Big 10.
Yeah.
Big 12 is not a power. I mean, if the Big 12 was a power conference, you'd still have Oklahoma and Texas and, in the Big 12. So, like, to me, you can't have those 2 teams in the 12. They're just not. They're not 2 of the 12 best teams. They're just not. One of them might be, because one of them will be the conference winner, but you can't tell me that Texas isn't better than one or both those teams, because they would beat both those teams.
But that goes to my first point. To avoid any type of controversy, win your games.
Well, or don't schedule tough games, I guess, also.
Oh, that too.
Don't play Ohio State, right?
But if you lose those games, you open yourself up to controversy. You open yourself up to get ridiculed. If you have 2 losses, if Texas is 10-2, they're in. They're in right now. Yeah. They're in over a 1-loss BYU team just based off the tough schedule they played. But because of that 3rd loss, and we've Bama didn't make it last year, and they had 3 losses. Yeah, and they beat Georgia twice, or they beat Georgia, and they beat 2 other top 10 teams last year. and it didn't matter. The committee is not going to forgive 3 losses. They've shown that last year, and they've shown that this year.
Let me give my monthly disclaimer. I am anti-CFP. I think this entire process and just college football in general is a ridiculous spectacle, right? Do I love it? Absolutely. Will I be there every Saturday to watch? I'm Texan. Like, it's kind of what we do. With that said, Texas absolutely deserves to be in the college football playoff. One, based on the committee's own qualifications, Texas is in. Having the 3 wins against 3 teams that are in the top 15 of these rankings, and there were stretches in the second half against Ohio State, slight moments against Georgia, where they look good against those teams. Do I think these are great arguments? Absolutely not. But what did I say about the college football? Like, it's a ridiculous spectacle in itself. But for those, very, very, thin reasons, Texas deserves to be in, because why not, right? A&M was undefeated. This is, they were one of the best defenses in the league. I think that counts for a lot. Oklahoma had a good offense, obviously wasn't good at the time, but the defense was playing well. Texas played well against that defense. Vanderbilt, same thing. Like, yes, are they inconsistent? Yeah, but like, hell, most of the teams in this, and we've talked outside of Ohio State, how many of these teams can we definitively say are like really good? Like, I'm sorry, but I'm not looking at it. Indiana's undefeated and they play really well. Georgia has struggled to like separate from guys. Like, they have one of their lowest point differentials in years. Tech hasn't played much of anybody. Like, we can go up and down like these rankings. All of these teams outside of Ohio State for the most part are flawed and like severely flawed. So yeah, Texas deserves to be in because the entire thing is based on sand, number one, and the 2 is based on slightly above average teams, all the way up until like the number 2 team in the nation. Yeah, I'd put them in. Fuck
so who's out, Tristan, if Texas is in? So let's say BYU wins.
Brother, I'm not arguing about a number 13 team like that. You see the point? Like, if Texas gets in, people will. It'll be in the C block on certain sports debate shows, and then we'll get over it, and we'll watch Texas play whoever the hell they play, and they might look good against certain teams based on the matchup. But like, that's like us arguing about who's 12 and 13 speaks to the ridiculousness of the system as a whole. Is the larger point that I'm trying to make.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I think one of the most ridiculous things about the playoff rankings currently, which, by the way, they dropped their latest rankings tonight, is you have Notre Dame's number 10. So they're in the playoff, right? Miami's number 12. They're both 10-2. Miami, who's their big win over this season?
Notre Dame.
They have the same goddamn record. They played on the field. The team that won the game is currently not in the playoff because the final 2 playoff spots will be determined by other conferences, which we'll talk about that in a second. How does that make any sense? It just doesn't. It's ridiculous. Like,
so if you're Miami, you're rooting for BYU to get blasted Saturday. Like, you're rooting for it. Like, you're hoping that happens.
Definitely.
It's weird because like what hurts Notre Dame, we're not Notre Dame really, but what hurts Miami, Texas, and everybody under 12 is that there aren't any other games left. Like, out of the bottom 9, Alabama is the only team that can still strengthen their claim. Even if Bama loses by 14, they're not going to fall.
They won't fall because they're playing an extra game. They're playing an extra game.
They're playing an extra game. Yeah. So they can only strengthen their claim. So it's like, if you're Miami and Texas, you're rooting for BYU to get blasted. Like, it needs to be definitive. Like how BYU got blasted November 8th, 29-7. It needs to be definitive like that for the conversation to open back up for one of those 2 teams to get in. But no, the favoritism that the CFP shows is it's such a broken system. Like they love Notre Dame. Notre Dame plays in no conference. They play. They're an independent conference. They pick their schedule. They do what the fuck they want to do. And for some reason, the CFP loves those guys. They love them.
Who's their best win? Who's their best win this year?
Purdue, like 40, I guess. Like
USC, maybe USC. Which
USC.
Texas beat Oklahoma and A&M, who are 7-8 right now in the CFP. And by the way, who is Ohio State's like only real competitive game?
Texas.
Yeah, right. I mean, look at their schedule. I mean, you talk about Ohio State's playing Indiana in the championship game this weekend. That should be a good game, right?
Yeah.
Neither one of those teams really. I mean, Indiana beat Oregon at Oregon, I believe, right?
By
I know
10.
they beat Oregon. Yeah,
at Oregon by 10.
Right,
yeah.
right. But who did Ohio State beat this year? They beat Michigan on Saturday. They broke their streak against them. Congratulations. That's not a very good Michigan team. Who they beat? Like Penn State was down this year. So you can't really say Penn State. They always beat Penn State anyway, so that doesn't really matter. So,
but that was supposed to be the game. That was supposed to be like the coming of Penn State this year with Franklin and like NFL prospect Drew Aller. Like that was supposed to be like we go and get Ohio State this year on paper before whatever happened with that.
How many teams in the top 20? How many teams in the top 10 that are currently in the playoff can say that they beat 3 teams in the top 15? Like, none.
Bama can.
Bama.
Yeah. Bama can.
Georgia.
That's really it.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Ole Miss.
Like again, should Texas be in like just logically? No. Hell no. Like you can't look. Is Texas one of the top 10 teams, I think, in the country? I don't think so. I think they're where they should be as far as rankings go. But when you put them in, I don't have the greatest of arguments against them being in. You know what I'm saying? And I think they're capable of beating every team in the playoff, save Ohio State and Georgia. They can't beat Georgia. Like that, those are the only 2 teams that I can definitively say they can't beat. So what you want me to do? So like did they win enough of the games they should have won? No, but they won, I think, enough of the games that they should not have won, you could probably say, or just impressive wins to maybe carry that over. And they have the name, they have the Arch, who's playing better. His numbers look better than a lot of Heisman candidates, right? I think those things could go in their favor, but again, it's not something it's not a hill I'm willing to die on because the CFP is stupid.
I think what hurts Texas too is that I know you don't look at teams from year to year as far as like, oh well, they lost them last year too.
Yeah.
But they lost to Georgia 3 times in the calendar year and didn't look good this past time playing against Georgia. They lost 35-10. It was 35-14. I think it was 35-14 or 35-10. I can't remember, but like it was competitive going to that 4th quarter, and then the wheels just fell off. And I think the committee saw that and was like, can we confidently say Texas is ready? Because that game was in November. That game, so from a bird's eye view, you had time to recover from the Ohio State loss. Like, hey, okay, this is 2 months later. You should be a better team. Arch should be a better quarterback. Defense should be playing better. And in that game, they just regressed. They crumbled. And I think that kind of played against them too with the committee as well.
Yeah, and I think they absolutely do look at like past performances. I mean, like a part of with Notre Dame, they were in the championship game last year. They had that really good run where they beat Georgia on the way to the title game, and they gave Ohio State the title game was a pretty close game. So like you can't tell, even though a lot of those players are no longer on the team, you can't tell me that that's not part of why Notre Dame's getting the nod. I just don't understand how you can have Notre Dame ahead of Miami when Miami beat Notre Dame. Just when they have the same records. It just that's silly. That's just
no. It's very silly. Cachet, for some reason, cachet matters. It's an unofficial conversation, but cachet matters in college football. Like the brands, Ohio State, Bama, they have cachet that these old farts are gonna like just rely on and depend on, day in and day out. It was a big reason why people were shocked when Bama didn't make it last year based off the cash share. But hell, if Saban's there, maybe they do make it. It makes you wonder.
There's one team that's probably going to be in the playoff. I mean, they will be in the playoff that won't have their coach, and that's Ole Miss, because Lane Kiffin is going to LSU after a crazy drama-filled will he or won't he. Everybody thought he was going to take the LSU job. Turns out he bought a house like a week ago. It came out this week that he already had purchased a home in the Baton Rouge area. So it wasn't about was he going to go there. It was really about, hey, he wanted to go there, but he also wanted to coach Ole Miss in the playoff. And he threatened to, if they didn't let him, he was going to take as many assistants and possibly players with him to LSU. Tristan, your thoughts on the whole Lane Kiffin saga and the fact that I guess it's finally over?
I'm going to start by shooting Lane Kiffin some bail before I shoot him in the back a bunch of times. The college football calendar is ridiculous, right? I said a few minutes ago, like pretty much college football as an entire sport is a ridiculous spectacle. Like everything about it makes no sense.
It's more like pro wrestling than it is pro football. Honestly, it's more pro wrestling than pro football. I think it is. Yeah,
I think that's a very apt analogy. It is some of the wildest stuff you've ever seen, like and heard of in a lot of circles. So with that, I do firmly believe that Lane Kiffin genuinely cared about like at least his legacy and like crafting what may be the best Ole Miss team possibly ever. Like at least one of the greatest Ole Miss teams we've seen. And getting guys to come there. Ole Miss is not an easy place to like recruit, right? Like the reputation, like the spectacle of like the Confederate flags, and Tommy Tuberville of all people had to tell him to chill out on the Confederate flags. Like this is a place that's hard to like get high caliber athletes, high caliber black athletes, even some high caliber white athletes. Peyton Manning left, Mississippi or not. He bypassed Ole Miss, from Louisiana, to go to Tennessee.
His dad went there, his brother went there, but he did not go there.
He did not, like that, and that's a black eye for that university. But like the college football playoff, like how teams, hire and fire coaches, and halfway through the season, and early signing, like all these dates are just stupid. Like and they lead to these things that we see with coaches leaving before bowl games and things that just, if people with like sense got together and like made these decisions, they probably would never happen. So I do understand that. I do understand Lane, especially being the narcissist that he is, wanting to like coach that team. Lane is a goddamn fool if he thought that Ole Miss was going to let him coach that team. You're like, bro, you are a LSU employee and you want to coach Ole Miss. LSU employee, coach Ole Miss. LSU, Ole Miss. Like these two things do not mix.
They are SEC. They're in the same conference. And they are rivals in the conference, by the way. Go ahead.
They hate each other, right? And then you being Lane Kiffin, you're probably going to do something to violate that. You're probably going to be out here calling recruits or looking up recruits on company Wi-Fi, Ole Miss Wi-Fi, doing LSU business. Like the concept of him thinking that he can still coach that team is ridiculous in nature. And it goes to like just the larger spectacle that is Lane Kiffin, one of the shadiest. Like I look at Lane Kiffin and I talked about this. Me and Coop talked about this in a group chat. I'm like, why can't you just act right, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like, why? What is it within you that causes you to be the habitual line stepper that you are? You know what I'm saying? Like, we've seen all kind of coaches' sons, right? Normally, when we talk about coaches' sons, they're too button up. They're too conservative. They're too. And they might come out in bad ways, and like the nepotism, like the Jim Irsay's, like his came out in habitual drug abuse, but like with Lane, he's like one of the rare coaches' sons that is just an outward narcissistic asshole. And like like there was some yoga teachers in the Ole Miss area who like came together to complain about how he would just go to their yoga class and like fuck shit up. Like people would be in their positions and he would just like push them over, or like he'd be like rolling golf balls in the middle of the session. Like he would be complaining about the playlist. Like, do you know how much of a fucking asshole you have to be to get like calm as yoga teachers to be like glad that you're gone? Like they were like rejoicing him leaving. Like, and this is to say nothing of like some of like the Twitter rumors from Ole Miss people that are coming out about some of his behaviors, let's say with, you know, younger co-ed. Like just to wrap, like this isn't even like top 4 Lane Kiffin exits. Like I want us to like think about that. This wouldn't, like, if I told you back in 2011, 2012, like, hey man, Lane Kiffin is going to coach at Ole Miss, and he's going to leave LSU, you know, Ole Miss in such a sneaky ass, sassy, messy ass fashion. Like you'd be like, bro, do you see, like they're rioting in fucking Knoxville. Like they may burn down Knoxville over Lane Kiffin, bro. Like bro got fired on the sideline during the USC game and then got officially fired on the tarmac. Saban had to like send this dude home before the national fucking championship game. Like Oakland Raiders, Al Davis had a PowerPoint. This old man had a PowerPoint, bro, like, and read and prophetically wrote a letter to Tennessee to tell them that Lane Kiffin was going to embarrass them in front of the hoes. And a year later, Lane Kiffin embarrassed the fuck out of the University of Tennessee. Like, bro, why can't you just act right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know there are systemic things within college football and its calendar that encourages a lot of Lane Kiffin's like poorly managed exits. But ultimately, these come down to him being a narcissistic, bratty, mostly mediocre guy.
Yeah,
with some great skill. Like I think he's a great play caller. I think he's been great at Ole Miss to like keeping them loose and stuff like that. But like, he has no division titles. He has no conference titles. Obviously, no national titles. He has great moments and maybe 2 to 3. I can think of 4 big wins in his entire coaching career, bro. Like in some ways, he's worth it because of, you know, how he can kind of elevate an offense. Most ways he's not. You know it's going to end badly. You know he's always going to be angling for like the next opportunity, and he's probably going to fail up because, bro, for whatever reason, I don't know, man. But that sums up my thoughts on Lane Kiffin, man. I think he's brilliant at some of the things that he does, and I think he's a really, really shitty, and he kind of accentuates everything that's wrong with like college football coaches and stuff like that. Lane Kiffin, everybody. This is what he inspires.
I heard some stuff that part of the reason why he didn't want to just announce the LSU move is he was waiting to see what happened with the Iron Bowl, because had Alabama lost, that would have been their 3rd loss. They might have been on the outside looking at the CFP. They might have fired their coach, and apparently the Alabama job is the job he wants the most.
I think he's still going to try to get that Alabama job within the next 2 years. I think he's going to try to get that Alabama job.
I agree.
Mark my words.
I agree. Yeah. Frank, your thoughts?
I can't follow what Tristan. I agree everything Tristan said. That he is a magnificent cunt. I don't know what else you can say about the guy. Like, as brilliant as he is a cunt to the most utmost elite degree. Like, I think he relishes not being liked. I think he goes out of his way to be cuntish. Like, that's just who he is. Like, I mean, LSU, they're in for a ride. Like this, I mean, I'm gonna watch. It's gonna be a reality TV show to the elite proportions. Like, and I mean, I don't know what his contract is, but the amount of money that LSU is giving this man, I'm assuming it's a lot.
91 million. Yeah, 91.
Is over 6 years.
6 years. No, 6 years. 91
years. If this doesn't work out Bro, my God, the jokes are going to fly.
They're gonna fly regardless of how good. Bro, like I know I said Lane Kiffin is bad for college football because he is, right? But like the traditional things, like the kids that trust in you and the parents that put their, trust in you, the coaches, all these, he's horrible in that sense because like he'll leave, assistants high and dry. We know this, players high and dry.
Yeah.
Man left the dog. He had an Instagram for the dog. He left the dog, bro. But Lane Kiffin ultimately is great for college football, man, because like we don't get interesting coaches anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like he's the evolution of Steve Spurrier, like good and bad ways. We don't get coaches that have personalities. Coaches that can in a lot of ways be bigger than a program, like to where we have 10, 20-minute conversations about them on podcasts and shows. And in that sense, Lane Kiffin has been great because like I've been tuned into every single level piece of commentary about Lane Kiffin from all areas, all mediums. But I mean, this is messy. Like, and LSU is messy, bro. Like he's going to a messy place. Like this is one of the messiest college football figures we've had in decades, going to a place where the governor like threatened to fire the AD, bro. Like the AD does not even have
basically
power to hire the coach.
That guy's gone. They got. I mean, the governor like publicly fired the guy. Then he was actually fired like 10 days later. That was. I mean,
and then the new guy doesn't even really have the power to hire the head coach.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because he's black. Like, but, bro, like this should be a reality TV show. Like, I hope they have cameras following it. Like, we're gonna be following it anyway.
Yeah.
But like Frank said, this is going to be an event. A must-see event on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah. Well, LSU Ole Miss next year. That's gonna be like must-see. Like
LSU at Tennessee.
Yeah. Yeah. LSU, Alabama. Really, I mean, all those games are going to be even bigger than they would have been. Because you're right, Lane Kiffin. I don't think he's a great coach. He's a great character, though. He's a great character for people like us to talk about, for people to watch on TV every Saturday. So, should be fun.
Here's what's going to be so interesting with him because like he doesn't have a resume of like winning as far as like contending for championships, but because he does have a brilliant offensive mind. As cuntish as he is, he's going to attract all the offensive guys across the country, primarily in the South, Alabama, Louisiana, Florida. He's going to attract those guys. Now, what he does with that talent, we'll see. But if I'm Bravo, if I'm the old network, I am slotting a show called Real Coach Husbands of the SEC. And putting that right after Real Housewives of Atlanta and Real Housewives of Orange County. This could be a hit. Like if I'm Bravo, I am throwing as much money to Lane Kiffin as possible because that's going to be a TV show that nobody wants to miss.
Yeah, maybe like Keeping Up with Kiffin or something. Maybe mix it up. I'd be happy to like help them out if they need like a writer or something. Yeah, so it should be fun to see what happens with that story. Also, it's going to be fun to see what happens with Ole Miss in the playoff. I think that there will be people around the country who might be kind of rooting for them now in this playoff because their coach, left and now they're. Even though they only have one loss, I don't know that anybody's like picking Ole Miss to win this tournament. But maybe more people will be behind them. It might end up being one of the better things that's ever happened to them, honestly.
So how many? So I know a lot of the staff has left to go to LSU with Kiffin.
Some have, yeah.
Some have. So who do we know? So I know Weiss is going to be calling plays, and he's the active head coach.
The head coach is Pete Golding.
Oh, Pete Golding now.
The decoder. He's going to coach LSU, but like they're allowing him to coach the offense for Ole Miss in the bowl game.
So that makes no sense to me. So if he's eventually going to LSU, why the fuck is he still there?
Hey man, college football is what?
Like that is like you made a big thing about Kiffin, you can't be here. You're not recruiting our players, but his minion is now. I don't.
I think like losing your play caller and then your backup play caller at this point, it would be pretty devastating, right? That's probably their thinking. I bet that's what their thinking is because it's probably like, well, everyone hates Lane. Lane absolutely cannot stay, but Charlie Weiss Jr. or whatever his name is, I don't think a ton of people are super locked in on him anyway. So we'll let him call the plays and then he can join Lane down the road when it's over.
This is crazy. I've never, in all my years, I've never seen an 11-win team be in so much influx doing championship seats. This is wild. I'm going to be glued to the TV screen to see how this team is going to look come CFP time. Like I've never seen this before. Like for a coaching staff to jettison themselves and leave right on the cusp of a CFP appearance. This is the first appearance in God knows how long. Like they weren't nowhere near the in championship contending in the BCS era. So this is the first. This is wild.
They're number 6 in the CFP right now. The final rankings are Sunday, but I mean I don't think that'll change much. Maybe they'll move up one, maybe I don't know, but they're not moving down. I wouldn't think. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. So the next up is the championship weekend for college football. You got the big matchups, the Big Ten title game. You got Indiana versus Ohio State, number 1 versus number 2. You've got the SEC title game. You got Georgia and Alabama playing for like the 100th time in a row or whatever. You've got the Big 12 title game. We talked about BYU, Texas Tech. ACC, you got Duke, Virginia. But the game that I'm focused on, Friday night, the American Athletic Conference title game. My North Texas Mean Green, 11-1, taking on 10-2 Tulane. And by the way, just to add to the Lane Kiffin story, both coaches in this game, North Texas and Tulane, both their coaches have taken other jobs. The North Texas coach, Eric Morris, is now the head coach of Oklahoma State. And the Tulane coach, John Summerall, is now the head coach of Florida. So they're both going to be coaching these games. The winner, in all likelihood, will be in the CFP. That coach, in all likelihood, is going to continue to coach the game. I can't wait. Friday night, can't get here fast enough. Tristan, your thoughts on this matchup? Thoughts on the fact that, what we just talked about with Lane Kiffin, like the North Texas coach, he's absolutely going to take his quarterback, Drew Mestemaker, with him to Oklahoma State. I would bet my life on it.
So would I. No, I wouldn't.
Well, why would you go there? Let's say Auburn says, "Hey, Mr. Maker, we're going to give you $3 million."
Oh, I think he could go. He could definitely be in the SEC. I just think he'll probably stick with the coach that kind of brought him. He'll make money at Oklahoma State. I don't think money won't be a problem. Now, will it be a good enough team?
That's the thing. If the money's the same, but you're playing in a better conference and a better team, fuck OK State. He's gonna have suitors in the Big Ten and the SEC if he wants to jump ship and go over there.
I agree. He has the talent to play in SEC. I was gonna start by giving Justin his flowers because he put us on. He was like, "Hey man, North Texas got one, and they got one." They got one. I saw one highlight and was like, "Whoa, no, they got one." The reason why I think he ultimately likely goes to OK State with Coach Morris is Morris, right? Eric Morris. Yeah. Is you got to remember, Mestemaker is a super late bloomer. Yep. He didn't start at all in high school, right?
He never started. He played like free safety. He never started quarterback. He was the backup quarterback.
So having that continuity with somebody who's had such a large hand in your development, when you're still, I would argue he's about 40% or 50% into his development as a quarterback. I don't see him leaving that for an uncertain play call or somebody who, would probably have who would probably rein him in a little bit more and probably have him play a little bit more conservative. I think that kid could be special with the right tutelage. And I think where Eric Morris has him, his trajectory is he's definitely trending towards a guy who could possibly go first round, top 15 top 10 to 15 in the NFL draft. So that's why I think he probably goes to OKC, just like the familiarity. Somebody who has such a huge impact on his development already. So, but man, I'm going to be tuned. I can't tell you how many times in my entire life I've seen North Texas play football. Ever, you know what I'm saying? Not even on a random Friday night and whatever. In my darkest days of loneliness, like I don't think I've seen North Texas. Like I'm actually like excited and to tune and watch North Texas Tulane, man. Like again, that's you won't even find a lot of Texas Southerners saying some those words have never been said by a Southerner ever. But yeah, man, North Texas got one, bro. Like they absolutely got one. He could be special.
And their running back, don't sleep on him, Caleb Hawkins, who's from Oklahoma, who I fully expect will also follow Morris and Mestemaker to Oklahoma State. He has 16 touchdowns in the last 4 games. He has 23 for the season. I mean, he is a monster also. I mean, it's honestly, if North Texas can get into this tournament, I'm not saying they're going to win the whole thing because that's not going to happen. But that number 5 seed they would play, look, if it's Texas Tech, dude, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens because I would not be surprised if they won that game. So, but they got to beat Tulane first. Tulane's obviously a pretty good team. Summerall has been a hot coaching name for a couple of years. He took the Florida job.
Yeah.
Frank, do you think it's, I mean, I think I know the answer, but like, do you think it's weird that both these schools are allowing these coaches to coach these teams?
I think so. Yeah. Just in the NIL era where guys unknowingly leaving and like they can recruit their own guys. But I guess that just shows you how desperate these programs are, that they probably have no other options that they can trust to like lead their teams in these CFP scenarios, which is even more sad. But like they got to fix the scheduling of like transitioning of power when coaches leave and coaches come in. Like this shouldn't happen right now. This should happen like in January or late or like right before signing day. But they gotta I thought they fixed this with the early sign-on period for players in December.
Yeah.
But it's become more of an issue now with like with these programs not having just so much like influx going on. Maybe they need to go back to making February 5th the national signing period day. So it looks like now that they have 2 different periods, it's forcing coaches to make decisions sooner to jump ship to like start recruiting. You know, if you're Lane Kiffin, like you're recruiting now. Like this is like there's no you're trying to steal recruits from like Georgia and Texas and Ohio State right now, and like while they're playing. So it's kind of like the schedule is just off right now, which I think it puts a lot of programs in a lot of influx.
Yeah, and the transfer portal opens like before the playoff is over. The portal opens, I think, early January. It closes like in mid-January. National title game's not until like what, January 9th or something? Or what? Let me look it up real quick. The national title game is, I think, January 12th. So the portal is like right in the middle of the playoff. That'd be like if free agency was during the NFL playoffs. How much sense would that make? You know, it's like it wouldn't make any sense at all. So yeah, interesting stuff. College football is truly the wild, wild west right now. There's just like no rules, just everything's going on. Everyone's getting paid. Coaches are leaving, players are leaving, but it's still fun to watch. And so we're enjoying it. We hope you are too. Any final thoughts on college football, Tristan? Anything else you want to say?
Dante Moore Stan account.
The Dante Oregon Moore, quarterback,
might be my favorite quarterback in college football right now. Big fan.
Yeah, I think you think he'll come out? Do you think he'll stay?
He should. I think he should come out.
Okay.
I think yeah.
Gotcha. Frank, final thoughts.
Bring on the fuckery this weekend with the CFP. Let's get it. I want chaos. I want BYU to win by 30 just to see what they're going to do with the Big 12. I want chaos. I want Bama to lose by 21. I just want to see chaos. I just want to see what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Caleb DeBoer, I suggest you win that game, my brother. I suggest you win that one.
And imagine if Duke wins 7-5 Duke, they beat Virginia, they'll win the ACC title, and then they'll be in the playoff. You'll have an 8-5 team in the playoff.
I think the automatic bid, the conference automatic bid, is a joke. I think it's a joke. No, not all conferences are created equal. I hate that automatic bid bullshit. I hate it so much.
Not that this would solve it, but I get rid of the bye. Like if you're going to have a playoff, 18 playoff or a 16 team playoff or a 32 team playoff, get rid of the bye. Like that would, I mean, obviously you don't want to get like too crazy. You don't want it to be the NCAA tournament, like a basketball tournament, although maybe it's not that bad of an idea. You know, who wouldn't watch it, honestly, if you had a 64 team college football tournament that started Thanksgiving? How awesome would that be? Go head to head with the NFL. Just go right at them. Just start it right there. But no, that's not going to happen. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Friday. North Texas, Tulane, biggest game for both schools. Should be fun. I will definitely be watching, and we appreciate everyone for joining us and watching our show here on YouTube. Be sure to like and subscribe. That always helps us out. We're also available on audio platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Give us a like there. 5-star review also helps us out. Want to give a shout out to everybody who joined us in the live chat. Really appreciate everybody with great questions and for just spend a little time with us. We appreciate that very much. And also, you can find us on social media. We're everywhere at Watchers Basement. Be sure to give us a follow. And yeah, have fun. So that about does it for the pod. So for Tristan and for Frank, I'm Justin saying thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We will see you next time. Have a good night. Bye-bye.